Hey everyone, welcome to another video by jmadden. Now this is what I love doing. I get home after work and I just sit down here and enjoy this, every bit of it. I like to try and take, a few minutes once a day to check up on my animals, see how the corals are doing, making sure the fish are doing well. Now, the reason for this update is it's been 1 year now, so it's been a little over a year, about a year and a couple weeks now, since I went ahead and redid the tank. Now, for those of you that have seen those videos from back at the end of February 2012, when the tank was tore down, did a couple videos there talking about all that and what the changes were and what I had hoped to accomplish. Now, I'm going to touch on some of the changes that I made, and I'm going to reflect on how this system has been doing since implementing those changes. Now, as you can see, this tank is extremely healthy. Anemones are very numerous. The two clownfish over there on the right, they've been spawning continuously about every 6 weeks, it seems. As soon as one batch of eggs hatches or gets eaten or whatever, within a few days to a week they're already putting down another clutch. So they are spawning quite often. Got the Tamingi tang, which is just growing up nice, very healthy fish, pretty cool personality. And of course the yellow tang, he's kind of the boss of the tank. He's fat and really friendly. You stick the feeding probe in here whenever I spot feed the corals and he's just all over it. He'll just rub against it and all kinds of things. And of course, this one over here, the maroon clown. Originally got this guy when he was about 1 inch or so, a little bit less. He had white bars, now he's got gold bars. And he's quite the aggressor. He is really protective of his anemone. He's always cleaning around it, making sure there's no pulsing xenia close to it. He'll bite at it. He'll bite at the frog spawn there in the left corner. So this tank is really evolved to where I wanted it to be. I wanted to try and replicate a reef as much as possible and try and get things that happen in nature to occur in my system. It's really good to see the clownfish and their symbiotic relationship with the anemones, and being able to keep 2 separate clownfish species in a tank that's only 4 feet long, is still a test, and that's being ran. The perks and the maroon clown don't interact at all. Over here, of course, on the right side of the tank, they have all this space to themselves underneath these anemones. And this is pretty much where they're always hanging out all the time. And of course they have their clutch of eggs here. You can see them in the center. So yeah, so far so good with the mixing of the clownfish species. One of the big things that I changed with this tank a year ago was the rockscape. The rockscape that I had before was very well, no, it's not really a way to say it. It was tightly packed together. The rocks were stacked. They weren't really leaning against each other, and the water flow in the tank wasn't where I wanted it to be. So I did is I went ahead and I started making a lot of archways, so I'll just kind of give you a close-up here and I'll talk about some of those. In here, this is an archway. Get this to focus, yeah, so right here, there's one rock that comes all the way up here. This rock comes up and goes back towards where that turbinia coral is. I don't know if you can see through here. The yellow tang will move. It's kind of full of mushrooms, but geez. So, but in here, it's covered up by mushrooms, but there's actually a hole that goes all the way through there. And over here on the back, as you can see, there's space to allow water to move behind the rocks in the back of the tank. Moving over here to the other side. What you're looking at here, this is a pretty complicated structure. It's been modified many times over the last year to really get it the way I wanted. So what you have is, behind all these corals, there's one rock laying here, laying straight down. And then I took a rock, goes straight up, and I glued it and epoxied it to this rock, and this rock comes over to here. Now this whole structure, which is pretty much a 90-degree angle, rests on this rock over here. And this one is resting on a smaller rock here, so pretty much it's kind of laying like this, kind of like that. That's my hand, that's the way the rock looks. So behind this feather duster, there's an archway, so water can flow through. We look below the frog spawn here in the foreground, and you look straight back in this area, there's a big flow through there, so there's a hole where the fish can pass through. Move around to this side. So as you can see, we have this is just a small piece of rubble rock because the maroon clown is always constantly stirring up the bottom area here because he just likes to keep it really clean. So as you can see, if we take a look back here, we have this rock here, which is the main rock, and it actually leans back against the glass. And then we have a piece of tonga branch that comes up and then leans back in here as well. And then this rock sitting here, which just kind of locks in, but there's still a good bit of water flow. So you can kind of see the holes in the little caves here. If the yellow tang once again can move. Yeah, so you kind of have it up here, there's water flow. You can see all the light that's still coming through here, so there's a good bit of space between your rocks. And here's just a straight shot down the back. As you can see, it goes all the way down. Get another shot of the maroon clown. He's just a good looking fish. Really dark, just this rich, deep maroon color. So one of the things that I also want to talk about since I'm over here is, aside from having the open aquascape and having minimal amount of rock in the display and just basically letting the corals create the aquascape, if that makes sense. That's what I was really going for. I mean, there's corals like this one here. As you can see, it's nice. I mean, it casts a nice shadow here, so it's kind of this, it gives a lot of depth. You can see the larger corals behind it. And that coral's really grown quite a bit. As you can see, I mean, check out how close it is to the glass. I mean, it's like right there. Might need to make some frags off the front of it here soon. So, that's what I wanted to encompass. I mean, the acro up here, this big one in the middle, has grown out, and just created, this natural look, and that's really what I was hoping to accomplish with this setup. One of the things that I feel has really made it possible for me to stock this system the way that I have is with the deep sand bed. There's mixed opinions about it. I don't really plan to get into that too much, but it's something that I tried, and after 1 year, all I can say is that I have nothing to complain about when it comes to the deep sand bed. I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a close-up to show you what a deep sand bed looks like after 1 year. So here's the deep sand bed, and as you can see right there on the top of it there on the left right here, this is pretty cool. It's a really small Tyree toadstool that I found stuck to some rocks, some rubble rock in the back. It just naturally propagated off, so I just stuck it there. It's pretty cool. Anyway, so here's the deep sand bed. See if I can get the exposure here. There you go. So as you can see, lots of nitrogen gas being produced in this sand bed, which means that nitrates are being broken down and entering the final stage of the nitrogen cycle, and they just rise out to the surface. So this has really helped me reduce the number of water changes that I've done, because the main reason why people tend to do the water changes that I've spoken to is because they want to lower nitrates. I do them to replenish trace elements when I don't get the opportunity to dose. So yeah, we can look through here. You can see all the little raceways from all the worms. This is one of my favorite ones right here. I mean, he's right against the glass, so you can see him moving inside. It's super cool. You know, these little ones that are stringy, like you can see right there on the glass, that little string. Yeah, that's the kind of worm that's living in there. And we'll come all the way down. Now you're going to notice a lot of different colors going on in here, you know, reds and browns and greens and different things. This isn't bad. What this is just a little bit of algae that's growing, and it doesn't bother me. I feel it really gives a more natural look to the front of the glass here. And the reason for this is, as the light reflects down the front of the glass, as you can see all those little ripples on the front of the sand bed there, the algae grows there because it's a low flow environment, obviously. So yeah, we're continuing down, and you can see all the nitrogen gas pockets. I mean, I even have coralline algae growing below the sand bed on the glass. That's how intense the light is from these dual 250 watt double-ended metal halide, the 14K Phoenixes. I mean, it's just such powerful lighting for this tank. And the sand bed is just really, really mature at this point. There we go. And just all the way across. Now I haven't disturbed this sand bed at all since putting it in. One of the things that I did do to the sand bed, I guess you could call it a modification, and some people have mixed feelings when it comes to mixing grain sizes on a deep sand bed. As far as the sand goes, having a smaller grain size really gives you the maximum amount of surface area for bacteria to grow. The only problem with that is when you're running powerful pumps such as these MP10s in a tank that's, you know, only 15 inches deep, and the depth is even less when you have 4 inches of sand on the bottom, you get a big sandstorm. It's like a snow globe, especially when the clownfish start kicking up, because as you can see, these clownfish have made a big bowl right here for their nest area. And the maroon clown has also made a trench for his area where he keeps clean. And clownfish are going to do this when they're really comfortable. It's natural behavior, but it's really annoying when your tank has just got a sandstorm going. So what I did was I put a slightly larger grain size on the surface, and over time it's slowly mixed in. And this sand I added cup by cup about 4 months after putting in the deep sand bed of the sugar fine, and I didn't really have any issues whatsoever. There was no ammonia spike or anything. There was no real die-off because the depth of sand that was put on the top was literally about an inch max in certain areas, so all the infauna was able to migrate to the surface. So yeah, I would definitely say that after a year of running the deep sand bed on this system, I have no complaints. You know, over the last year, it's just really been, you know, very pleasant keeping this tank. You know, having the right foundation in the form of your aquascape and the type and depth of sand that you use really goes a long way in keeping animals happy and healthy. That's all I have to say for this one. Thanks for watching, everybody, and stay tuned. Many more videos to come. As always, enjoy your tanks and happy reefing.